tell me about what's up with St. Benedict's that you were saying.
Oh man, St. Benedict's last year because our sister school, St. Benedictine, not to be confused with St. Vincent, because a lot of times people confuse our sister school with St. Vincent because
With
they,
St. Vincent's,
yeah, because of proximity of St. Vincent's to St. Benedict's. But our sister school was really St. Benedictine. They shut down 2 years ago, a little under 2 years ago. So what happened was, obviously financial problems, financial woes, and this is before the pandemic. So essentially, what happened was because I'm a I donate and that's my alma mater. I constantly get news update. Next thing you know, there's like, Father Ed, who's the headmaster, is going to do a special presentation on YouTube. So I'm like, usually I ignore shit like that, but I was like, if he's doing a special presentation and the way they headlined the shit on the email, I was like, let me see what the hell he's talking about. They merged St. Benedictine with St. Benedict's. So
what's St. Benedictine?
It's an all-girl Catholic
school. It's an all-girl school. Wait.
Oh, Cash. I didn't know they had that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's an all-girl school. Hey, Cash, wait.
Yes.
So now it's co-ed?
So
it's the first time I'm hearing this shit.
Yes, bruh.
Same here.
So what happened was the senior class, now they're trying to say this is a experimental run. We all know once you start dabbling with experiments, it's game over. So they don't want it.
Female voice.
Exactly. So Father Ed, like it was a panel of people, right? So you had current classmen, you had some alma maters who are currently teachers, and then you had the other headmasters, like the co-assistant headmasters, who basically going to take over when Father Ed step aside, right? And it's a female, Miss Turtle, and I was like, damn, she's still there. She was there since I was in school, so I was like, damn, she's been there a hot minute. So that's
what I say about Father Ed, bro. I'm like, Father Ed's been here for fucking ever. My brother went to St. Benedict's, and I'm like, my brother would be 50 fucking this year. I'm like, but
that man is a legend, but he's up there. Yeah.
So what's going on?
So Smith kind of pointed out to, so apparently as Miss Turtle was talking, I started to, and then you had the females from St. Benedictines on this panel, and I'm like, what the hell is these young ladies are doing there? I'm not trying, I wasn't, I didn't know what was going on, but I was like, it was interesting that these young ladies were there. And then they basically said after months of delegations and pondering and weighing this in, so what they did was an experiment. They're doing an experimental trial where the senior class, because what happened was when they were shutting down the school, the senior class was going to be shit out of luck. So the headmasters or the nuns at St. Benedictine was trying to get the girls to go to other Catholic schools, but they was like, no, they don't necessarily contain the values of St. Benedictine. So eventually all this was like St. Benedictine has the same values as St. Benedict, so they kind of merged the two. So all of the students who were reluctant to go elsewhere are now at St. Benedict's, and now you got girls here. So
basically St. Benedictine was not getting enough new females coming into it. So to save their school, save their asses, they're making St. Benedict's an all-boys school co-ed. That's the basic point.
They use a different word for co-ed. I forgot the word.
But you know what I'm saying. But that's what it is.
What word did they use, Cash?
Bro, I'm trying to remember what word did they use.
It's semantics.
Thank you.
It's like, it's
semantics. I want to know what they use. I want to know exactly how they worded that shit, though.
They were calling it Adam and Eve, school
what
now.
Was the word
did they say
used?
Coexisting? What the fuck did they say?
Hold on, let me look up to see any synonym.
I want to know what word they use.
All right, so you made my
basically say.
Thanks, Cash. You made my decision. Seton Hall Prep it is.
Yeah, well, there's a long-standing history of this being an all-boys school, but because females don't want to go elsewhere.
Oh, I found it.
We're going to put them into an all-boys school.
I found it. They called it co-education. No, they called it. Oh, no, that's not the word because that's what it is. Fuck,
yeah, co-education would be co-ed.
Yeah, co-ed. Yeah, what the fuck?
They called it coexisting.
They called it something, and it was an interesting choice of word that they constantly kept.
Integration.
Insert female into school Mel lose focus.
Exactly.
Well, and that was so funny because they
And
had
now they got to play by different rules.
And now they got to play by different rules.
Because you can't have male conversation around females.
Exactly.
You can't make the females feel uncomfortable.
And
it's all about, I can't.
Are they going to take the males and the females on the retreat?
Bruh, that's the one thing, bro.
On the camping trip? Or are they going to stop doing the camping trip?
Exactly, bro.
Like, the fuck out of here.
So fortunately, shortly after that, obviously the pandemic hit. So it's just like, you don't know how any of this shit is going to play itself out. But, that was the one thing, because when I was watching it on YouTube, they had the live chat going. So I'm seeing all the graduating classes on the blog and stuff. And we're all saying, yo, what kind of bullshit is this? Like, people were livid. Like, because
I'm so disappointed in Doc and Father Ed.
I'm like, what?
Like, did somebody castrate him or something?
Man, you know what it is? Maybe, I don't know, man. But he talked about it. I could send you the YouTube link because it's still on YouTube.
It's that Me Too movement, bro. That shit is strong as hell.
Yeah,
bruh. Because the co-headmaster, Miss Turtle, she had that very strong feminine. She had a lot of the feminist talking point that I wish, when we started reading The Myth of Male Power, that I could have just dropped that book in the live chat as he was talking, because a lot of the stuff that she was saying was in, is a lot of the
exact same talking points, right?
Like talking about
Seton Hall prep, man. What the fuck are they doing to St. Benedict's? Like, what the fuck?
That's what I'm telling you.
They're saying that
you made my decision for me.
They're saying that it's an experimental run, because
there should not be an experiment at all.
Yeah,
it should not be a fucking experiment.
Yeah, they're saying that they're only doing with the existing girls. Like, they're not recruiting any new active girls. What they're doing is just taking the existing girls.
So let them finish their existing time at their existing school.
Exactly.
But their existing school no longer exists. That's what that's the problem.
Well, then
why experiment? If you're not trying to make this something that's going to be on a regular basis, why are you experimenting?
Bro, they, like I said, Miss Turtle and the other
let me ask. Do you know if it's going to be like, hey, these girls are going to like be sectioned off to a certain part of the school, they're going to have their own separate classes, or they're going to be intermingled with
and they got to be intermingled.
No, but what they're saying that is what they're going to do, and they're still working out the bugs and stuff like that. What they're going to do is they're going to keep the girls separate. And we're all wondering, how is that possible? So the girls
That's what I was saying. How?
So it's just like, you don't have the number of teachers. Like, you can't afford the number of teachers. Like, the facility is not big enough to keep anything separate like that. So, like, what are you talking about? So they're saying
going to be fucking in the school.
It's not even just that. It's not really just that. It's just that
it's not just that.
It changes the whole reason why you send. It changes the whole reason why you send your young male to an all-boys school. It changes that dynamic.
You don't turn it into a
The education might still be the same, but the experience will be different.
And at the end of the day, you said they were seniors, and you're saying that the school said the other schools don't have the same values. We're seniors. Yeah. We know how to hold on to these values for fucking 10 months.
Yeah.
Because that's how long school is. Yeah. So let me go to St. Vincent's or something. Let me go to another fucking all-girls school and finish my 10 months. It's only 10 months. You don't need to experiment.
Yeah.
Bro, everything
don't need to experiment at all.
Everything you said was what I thought, and a lot of because even fellow brothers that I ain't speak to in a hot minute, we all was calling each other like, yo, are you seeing this bullshit? And like, to be honest,
like, yo, I wish they had girls when I was going there.
You know what's so funny though? The alumni don't have that stance. Is that, it's just like, when you're currently there, you wish you have girls, but then when you leave the school and you realize how much that school meant to you and some of the values, you realize
you understand the brotherhood. Yeah,
you understood the brotherhood, and you understood like, yo, damn, having girls there would have fucked up that entire dynamic.
Exactly,
and that's what will happen.
Yeah,
that's what will happen.
If you ask any dude that went to a co-ed, public school, whatever, if they have that same feeling about their school as like an all-boys school does, they'll never say they have that same feeling.
Yeah.
They'll never say they have that
man,
same feeling.
I got suspended from elementary school because I was in a private school that was co-ed, and I was caught fucking on the steps. That's what's going to happen.
That's what somebody said.
Elementary school is so fucking long, bro. That's what's going to fucking happen.
But that's what somebody said. It's just like,
these
you
kids
ruining
are faster than what I was. Goddamn.
Yeah, like you're ruining reputation, and it's all it's gonna take is one sexual incident, and it's gonna be a wrap. It's gonna be that.
What? Anyway, that shit should not be done.
It doesn't even have to. It doesn't even have to be. It doesn't even have to be anything about being on the steps. It could, in this day and age, it's he looked at me a certain way. He said something. He made me feel.
No, wait. What did you say earlier, Cash? You were saying he touched my arm. That's rape.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, no. I don't even need to be put in this situation. I don't need to be put in a situation where, can you come to the office because this young lady said you didn't hold the door, and our values are greater than that.
Yeah.
I don't need that little nitpicking bullshit.
And that's what it was.
My brothers in the gym and be hugging and rocking. Like,
because what bothered me was they had the existing class, like the current students representation. They had like 3 existing students there, and they were all on board. And we were in the chat room trying to tell these young men, like, of course you're going to be on board because you're thinking with your other head.
Hell yeah.
We're trying to tell you Benedict's is going to mean much more to you when you leave that institution and you reflect back on that brotherhood. You're thinking with your other head, man. Like, it's just like so many dudes were disappointed. I was heavily disappointed, bro. Like, I donate to Benedict's monthly. It comes out of my account automatic.
Are you going to pull back?
Like, here's the thing. I was thinking about it. But then I was talking to Kelvin, and Kelvin had some great points. He said that, if that school means so much to you, he said that's selfish. Because at the end
it's not. Because if it's not,
wait. Sorry. I want to hear it out.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm with you, Black Zeus. But let me hear him out first.
He said that's selfish. He was saying, like, if that school meant so much to you, and they're still accepting boys, like they're saying, he said, as long as. Because he was asking all of these questions, like, what did you hear? He was probing me about what I, was listening to. He said, as long as it's not interrupting the recruitment of young boys and there's the programs that are currently there are not disrupted, he said, continue to contribute. He said, once you're starting to see that those sort of values and dynamics are being disrupted, then he's like, all right, stop contributing. And then that's when I was like, okay, I can continue to continue.
That's a fair argument.
That's a fair argument.
I was still going to say, fuck that, don't contribute, but that's fair. That is fair.
I feel that way, but I can't dismiss a fair argument.
Exactly.
Because one of the things Kelvin was asked, he's like, I understand the concern. He was like, was there any talks about there's going to be less boys being enrolled? He was like, no, because somebody raised that question. So I said, nah, that's what they're presenting is no. So the only thing is, we don't know how any of this looks because then the pandemic hit. Like shortly after they announced this, I would say maybe a month later, the pandemic hit. So it was just
that's the voice of God coming in.
Yeah, it definitely affects. It's kind of like this. So
thou shalt not integrate.
Yeah, exactly. Remember when we said having a female guest here and there or getting a female to come on? It's kind of like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like a female on here changes the dynamic. It changes. It will change. It Absolutely. Will. There's nothing that you can tell me that's going to say this will not change the school. It will fucking change the school.
Yeah, because the whole thing is in
another
our conversations,
another gender.
Let's be for real. In our conversations, we are not as censored in our conversations.
Oh, I found the word. I'm sorry. They kept using the word co-institutional.
Co-institutional.
Rather than saying co-ed.
Yeah.
Okay, co-education. They kept using co-institutional.
Co-institutional.
I just sent you the article, and that's and they got a quote. They kept using that word.
Co-institutional.
Wow. I love the semantics.
Yeah. That's why I needed to hear the word co-institutional. I'm putting that shit in my head.
Co-institutional.
Yo,
I'm in a learning art institute right now. I'm in this art professional learning institute with these other people, and we meet on Saturdays and Sundays. I meet next week, actually.
Yeah.
That co-institute, fuck.
Yeah, that's the word they kept using. Wow. I'm like, it kind of threw me. I was like, "Oh, are they trying to play around with the word co-ed?"
Yeah, they're trying to dance around it. They're trying to dance around it.
They're trying to dance around it. Yeah. So that means that
because the whole thing is they know if they actually say it out like that, those like myself who are interested in sending their young sons next year or whatever the case is will say, "Oh no, Seton Hall Prep it is."
Yeah, because
St. Peter's.
Because a co-institution means that I'm working with someone still.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what this means. You said in one breath, you said they were talking about sectioning them off. But co means we're together.
Yep.
Yeah. Because the co-institutional implies while they're in the same building.
They're
not necessarily integrating. And I was just like, that's a funny way of saying that.
Yeah, exactly.
Making, saying co-ed.
So check this out, Cash, right? They tried this shit several times. And I don't know if you're familiar with them, but check it out. We have several school buildings that have 3 schools in one.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. They have, like, let's say we'll do Camden Middle. So you have Camden Middle, Bar Early College, and another, I forget the other school that's in there. They try to have the students stay away from each other. Do you think that shit works?
No.
Even though they're on separate floors, like this school is on this floor, this school is on this floor. Guess what? They only have one gym. Guess what? They only have one lunchroom. You know what I mean? Like they only have one auditorium,
one track.
Yeah, field. The bathrooms aren't necessarily leveled out and even. You know what I mean? Because you have to have a certain amount of boys and girls bathroom. So I got to come down to this other floor. So the shit is not, that shit will never work. It just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
That's the reason why St. Benedictine was in their own fucking building.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, there's a reason why. And it will have an effect on them. Like it will.
Yeah, like the arguments, made by Miss Turtle and the young ladies. And look, I have no problems with the young ladies because at the end of the day, they
they're sisters.
Look, I have no problem with young girls being ambitious. Like, a lot of those young ladies called for this. They wanted this, they didn't want to go to any other all-girl Catholic school. So like I don't have any gripes with young ladies, the young ladies.
No, I do have gripe because
I was about to say, I do.
My gripe is that they have their own and they can still have their own, but they don't, because they can't have it the way they want it. They still have to intrude on what you have. That's the part that I have a problem with. It's like they're not going to lose anything per se. If they went to another school, they would not lose anything.
Check it out. Don't go to another school. St. Benedictine stays in that school and they invite boys to come to their school.
Well, I don't know, man.
I don't know if anybody's going to do that.
You don't change St. Benedict,
but the thing is,
St. Benedictine to invite boys, and maybe
I can tell you right now, as someone who and Hoff, you probably passed by that school. I never stepped foot inside the building, but I passed by the school before.
St. Benedict's?
It's St. Benedictine.
Oh, St. Benedictine, yeah.
This shit it looks like some elementary, middle school shit. Like they don't have the facilities like St. Benedict. So I can't imagine them trying to recruit young men. Like, hold up. Is it St. Benedict in downtown North? Why would I go to?
But because it's a co-institutional education. It's different. That's why you would go. St. Benedict's is for all boys, but if you want to get the slice of life that has a girl-boy mix, then you go to St. Benedictine.
I see where you're coming from.
Right.
I see where you're coming from. Yeah.
So I can still keep the boys as this.
You
boy
could.
School.
You could. You're not going to sell too many parents.
This is what they was fucking talking about, the war against boys.
Mm-hmm.
This is it.
Yeah.
Infiltration.
You got this long-standing institution, and now you want to invite girls into it. The same way they did with the fucking Boy Scouts. You have Girl Scouts, and girls still want to be in a fucking Boy Scout. You got Girl Scouts. The fuck?
And that's the thing. It's not because they don't have opportunity or an institution. It's because their institution is not getting support from their own sex.
Yes,
That's
with my applause button.
It's not like somebody's taking anything away from them. It's the fact of your own females that you're saying are so underprivileged or this, that, and the other aren't even in support of what you're doing.
Exactly. Because
but then you want to put it on the males for pulling together and doing what they all want to do and say that they're taking something away from you, which is bullshit.
I wish we had this book club at this time, because I didn't have the ability to use the words you guys are using to say that when I was talking to my other friends, longstanding friends about this, because that's exactly it. Because ironically enough, my sister-in-law, she graduated from St. Benedictine. She was the first one to tell me the situation, because when I was listening to Father Ed at that time, I didn't know what was going on with St. Benedictine. So that Saturday, my sister, she always come by every other Saturday. That Saturday, my sister-in-law came by and she's like, "You heard what happened?" And she didn't like it per se, even though she's an alumni of St. Benedictine. And I was talking to her. I was like, "Yo, what's up with your donating alumni base? Like, y'all couldn't save the school." She was like, "Oh, we got a horrible alumni base. We hardly donate." And I was like, "So hold up. So y'all hardly donate, but yet now y'all leeching onto the donating class of St. Benedict's." It's just like, I don't know.
Yeah,
bro.
That's what I'm saying. And that's what's always portrayed. That's what's always being portrayed as if somebody's taking something away from that group. When that group does, and you could put it on anything. It could be females. It could be LGBT. It could be Black. It could be Spanish. It could be whatever. That own group doesn't support itself.
Yeah.
And then you want to play victim to everybody else and say, "Well, you have this and you have that. Give it to us." You don't see the Jews doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the first thing I asked, I was just like, "What?
Jews
You guys
support
don't
each
have
other.
lawyers and doctors?" And I was like, "What's the alumni class for you guys?" She was like, "Oh, we got lawyers, we got doctors." And I'm like, all of you guys couldn't come together, like, for the years you guys been around, for the decades you guys been around, y'all couldn't come together and try to save the school? And he's like, "Yo, to be honest, some of us were shocked like that it was closing down," because she was like,
"Why are you shocked? You're not contributing."
Exactly.
It's not like it's a college that has a huge endowment, a football team to bring in money and this, that, and the other. So it doesn't really necessarily rely on the alumni. It's a small private school that doesn't. It's not like they got like a St. Benedict's on every fucking corner or in every fucking state.
Yeah.
So like common sense.
Yeah.
And
it's not like you had a huge facility where you got to make sure the upkeep of the school. Like St. Benedict's is a huge is for a high school. It's a big campus.
A big campus.
Yeah.
And here's sorry, go ahead.
No. And I'm like, when you go to St. Benedictine, it looked like any middle school, high school.
Right. Yeah, middle school. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, so I was struggling to comprehend how the school shut down. I just didn't understand it. But,
see, and that's what I'm saying is that's what I'm talking about the brotherhood. All right. The members, the alumni who have graduated from there, they realize that, hey, this is my brotherhood. This is my fraternity that I'm going to kick back to because I want more brothers like myself graduating from that school and building out. Because men are typically like that. Like, we want our tribe to grow, but females are selfish. Yeah. They get what they want and they're out.
And they out.
I mean, that's one of the reasons they can't that's the reasons, like, dudes could not, like you said, there's guys you haven't spoken to in forever, but y'all picked up the phone. Bro. Y'all picked up the phone because of that brotherhood. Y'all picked up the phone like, "Yo, you see this?" I mean, while females are like, "Well, I got mine."
Yeah.
Brothers I ain't seen to in almost a decade, yo.
They'd be like, I don't even like Shaniqua.
Right.
Bruh, it broke my heart initially, and I was like you guys, I was going to stop donating, and I was mad as hell. And the next day, me and Kel was hanging out, and he asked me what was wrong. I was venting to him, and he was just like, because I was like, I'm about to stop donating. He was like, "Don't do that." He was like, "Don't do anything until you see a drastic change happen." And I was like you said, it's inevitable, but at that moment, there wasn't anything for me to really pull out my money. So I was like, I'll keep donating. But the moment I see some bullshit, man, it's a wrap.
But at the end of the day, listen, you don't have to be a wordsmith to understand words. You don't have to let nobody pull no wool over your fucking eyes. Why are we doing an experiment if this is only for this?
Well, who knows? Honestly, here's the thing.
Let's say,
what the fuck? Let's say they do this experiment. it might, it might fail, fucking fantastically, because at the end of the day, one of the main draws to a single sex school that parents send their kids is because it's a single sex school.
That's why my mom sent me.
Yeah,
that's the whole reason why they send them. All right, that's the whole. I know, I have friends of mine that went to an all-girls Catholic school, or people that went to all-boys, private school, whatever. And two things. One, I find that the success rate, as far as like graduation, going to college, and making something out of yourself, is much higher than public schools. All right, it's much higher than public schools. So they got something going on. I mean, they got something right going on. And then secondly is the fact of, like I said, for women, it's not really the same, because women don't understand that camaraderie, that, that brotherhood that dudes have from being with one another. Like when I see my son with his football team, or with his little clique of little knuckleheads at school and this, that, and the other, I don't see that same connection with the little girls that are there at the school, or the girls on the on any team. Have you ever seen a camaraderie with girls on a team versus boys on a team?
Man, my sister-in-law, when she said, "Oh, you still donate?" I was like, "Yo, I've been donating to St. Benedict's ever since I graduated the school." And she was just like, "Wow." And she was like, "You still keep in contact?" Like, I still keep in contact with 3 to this very day with no problem. And then it was just like other guys I occasionally see from now and then. And she was just like, "Man," she's like, "it'd be a struggle to get our alumni base to get in contact with each other."
See?
And I was just like, who fault is that? That's my inclination, was like, who fault is that? I was devastated, guys, man. I ain't going front, man. When Father Ed, that was like, wow, man. I just sent you guys an article. It was breaking news all over the place. Like, word Benedict, but like that word kept fucking me up. Co-institutional. That's the word they kept using. Like all those people who's on board. Like, it's going to be a co-institutional program.
Yeah, and I'm saying they didn't even need to try to do an experiment. Like, they didn't even need to try to do that. They could have found some teachers that was willing to teach these, because you said it's the one senior class for this year.
Well, they said, from my understanding, it was the senior class coming on because St. Benedictine, when they knew they were shutting down, they weren't taking any more, class, recruits and stuff like that. So I think the girls that were represented on this live stream, they transitioning to the senior class. So I think
that's for next school year.
Yeah, for the next school year. Yeah.
But they closed this school year.
They're the St. Benedictine, they're done, bro. They don't even exist anymore.
So where are the girls currently going right now? So the
current girls are in they're virtual, but they're in St. Benedict's.
But there's going to be another group of girls.
Does that mean that their diploma will say St. Benedict's?
I would assume so. But to your point, Smith, I think, and I'm still trying to understand this myself. I don't fully comprehend,
Yeah.
All I know is the existing girls that are at St. Benedictine who didn't go anywhere else, they will be coming to St. Benedict's.
Okay, but you have some girls that are juniors. This is not just seniors.
Yeah, quite possibly. From my understanding,
so we're starting this as an experiment to slowly enroll girls into St. Benedict's.
That's what,
like, it is what it fucking is.
That's what it is. Yeah.
You don't gotta pull no fucking wool over my eye. And listen, the same way we said at some point we know that this fucking vaccine is going to be a mandate, an official mandate. It's the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like, you could just tell me out front. You don't have to bullshit me. You don't gotta bullshit me.
You're right.
Bullshit it. You know,
and that's what it felt like, man. Because when they kept using that word, I was just like Shu was saying, the semantics of that word. Because I've never heard that word.
Me either. That's why I
don't like that. I was just like co-institutional. I was like, what's the difference between that and co-ed? But they kept saying co-institutional.
Yeah, because they don't want to fill in the blank. See, here's the thing. If they say co-ed, that means that's clear and concise. That means both male and female in the same class. If they say co-institution, it means both male and female are in the same building or same institution.
It's the same institution.
All right. Now, if it's like, oh, well, we only got one English teacher and there's only like 5 girls that want to to come. So you start off with that first 5.
Bingo.
Well, we only have like 2 social studies class, and these 2 girls
And
here
check
and
it
these
out,
2
Black
girls
Goose.
there.
Since it was so successful last year, we figured. See that word right there? Since it was so successful last year with those 5 girls, we figured that we could try it. See how that works?
Yeah.
Yep.
And now you got a fucking co-ed institution.
And the whole thing is you got sister such and such, I forget what you said, Turtle?
Miss Turtle, bro.
Yeah. Right? It is like telling Father Ed, like, yo, man, why don't you just bring the girls in, this, that, and the other? Oh, just 2 more classes. All right, well, you know what? It worked out so well. Just open up the door, see if anybody's interested in everything. It might bring in more money for the school. It'll be good for development, blah, blah,
and
blah.
And she hit me with that's so old school for women to not be in the church. Let's do something
it'll seem like we're more progressive and yeah.
And that's the problem, man. Like,
and then next thing you know, you got chicks with dicks in the school.
And next thing you know, you got chicks with dicks in the school.
Yo, Father Ed sound like
fucking this little faggot. Like, yo, what the fuck? I knew we had gay dudes here, but I didn't know they was fucking gonna be coming out when these chicks got hit with dicks. This some bullshit.
Man, Father Ed sound like he was. You know what it is, man. Father Ed just old, and I just feel like he's
weak.
He is.
He just old and weak.
He's tired. He's time
exactly. He just
you need
tired.
a nice new strong. You need a nice new strong stud to come in there and put his foot down. Like, nah, that's not how we doing it.
So the other saying that about Nancy Pelosi, like her ass is too old. It's time, like, listen, motherfuckers get old. It's time to shut it down.
Yes,
you could be a consultant or some shit, but you got to get that shit up. It's time.
Yeah.
So it's just like I felt like he felt under the pressure because he let these young women. And look, once again, I try not to, talk disparagingly about young people, particularly these young women, because look, man, at the end of the day, they gave a good presentation. I'm like, it is what it is. Like, but
I'm like, fuck their presentation, to be honest with you. Like, I'm serious. Like, fuck your presentation. The fuck?
I'm with Hakeem.
Yeah, no, I get it, but it was just one of those things that I felt like Father Ed let this young look. Like I said, Miss Turtle's been around since my senior year when I was at Benedict. So when I saw her, I was like, wow, she's still there, even though I should have been paying attention to all the newsletters with her name on it. But it's just like, this is one of those things that I just let it roll off my back. But I should have known something was happening because I was talking to my brother, because he also graduated St. Benedict. So he always keeps up. And he was telling me like, yo, Benedict has changed. He's like, they got soft. Like all of the teachers and the personnel that made Benedict's, they kind of left. And like,
my whole thing is this: if they were saying Benedictine was shutting down and it doesn't have the financial support, we're going to discontinue this program, and we're going to let the last remaining graduates finish their school year at Benedict's, I wouldn't be mad. I get it. You're supporting the fact of like, listen, this is close. But the fact that you're like, this school is shutting down, we're not getting any support, financial support, but we're going to still try to continue this program, and we're going to bring it into this. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously, like if it's meant to die, let it die. Don't sit there and try to hold on to it just so you can appease a handful of people who, don't get the support from their own group.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Totally.
That's what they're saying. They're saying that they're not recruiting any new girls or any of that shit. It was just taking the existing class members that are there who didn't.
So don't call it an experiment.
Don't call it an experiment. Exactly. Like
if an experiment means the fact of, hey, this turns out well, we're going to keep on doing this.
That's exactly what it means. It's the wording.
Yeah.
One thing about what I learned through this book club is fucking wording, man. Language, man. Fucking
I'm not
language.
gonna lie, man. I wish we started this book club when I was listening to this shit, because there was a lot of things that I'm listening to. As I was listening, I was like, yo, this shit ain't hitting right. Like it wasn't resonating right. But I wasn't equipped to fight back. Like I didn't know what was,
didn't know how to process it.
Black Zeus he said it very well. Like if there was one thing where the girls would just come in to finish because the school was closing down, cool. That's cool.
Yeah, because you're supporting your sister's school.
We're going to experiment with. Why? That's why I keep saying, why are we experimenting? What the fuck are we doing that for?
Yeah.
Like if it's one thing where the school shut down, they just need to finish their education. Cool. all for it. And then it's back to normal. But to say that we're going to experiment with this means we're going to look at this shit down the road to expanding this to being a co-education school.
Yeah. Call it what it is.
Yeah, like what the fuck, Miss Turtle.
Yeah, man.
I need to pop her head back in her shell.
Man, it's sad, man, because like you said, I think a lot of the male teachers, influencers that were at the school, they're no longer there. And that was one of the things that I think as I was reading this book, I realized it's good to donate, but you also got to be actively involved. And that's what I think I was lacking too. I wasn't activly involved.
Check this out.
Yeah, but that's also the school has to implement things to saying, okay, we're going to bring back graduates from here, this, that, and the other, especially the alumni. Hey, if if you have like a career day, or if you're saying, okay, you have a skill or knowledge in a certain area that might help our kids. So maybe we'll have a seminar one day, or what do you call in the auditorium? What do you call when they bring you to the auditorium for some reason? An assembly or something. You know what I mean? Like if you did that, then you're going to have more of that male, like, okay, these are guys that actually went here. They graduated when I graduated. They've been through school and look how successful they are. You keep that fire going. That fire going, but that's on them. They didn't institute that.
Exactly. Yeah. So what happened was, this is what I learned from teaching. And like you said, Cash, you said the people left. So what happened was the school didn't have programs in effect, because this is what I know from being in school. And I'm at a school now where I've had 5 principals in 6 years. Right. And I've seen teachers leave. So what happens is when there's certain individuals who leave, the programs go with those people.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
It's those people who are making the school what it is. And when they
the curriculum and everything else.
Yeah. Like they kept the curriculum.
Programs put in place.
Nah,
you know what I mean?
Curriculum is not the same without the teacher.
Yeah, they got some great teachers that are you busting their ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they don't have any programs. So as soon as that teacher leaves, guess what? The school starts falling. You're like, yo, what the fuck happened? That dynamic teacher that was doing all these fucking assemblies and all this shit left. The motherfucker that was bringing the future educators and all that shit, they left.
Yeah.
The motherfucker that was staying here till 8 o'clock at night, they left.
Yeah, man. And that's what happened.
That's waiting at the clock to punch out 10 minutes early.
Or in this case, what my brother was telling me, because he and I talked about it at great length. He was like, you still got great teachers, but those teachers are indoctrinated with the new program.
Yeah, the new progressive.
New progressive program. Whereas,
especially if they went to a school that is reinforcing that shit nowadays with this
exactly. Coddling. He's like, it's no knock on the new teachers because that's the culture of Benedict's. If you're a teacher or a student there, you have to give all in. That's what Father Ed demands. That's what all of the faculty demands. But what my brother was telling me, and this is, like I said, this is just on me not necessarily really paying attention to like the culture. Because I still pay attention to like Benedict's in the headline news. I'm like, oh, we're doing great. But I wasn't paying attention to the culture of Benedict's. And that's what I wasn't doing. And then, my brother was saying like, yo, a lot of the male teachers that made us as men, he's like, they're not there, bro. He was like, it's some soft teachers there. I kept dismissing it. And it didn't show his face until I was on this conference call. And I mean, this presentation. And I was just like, I could see why.
Yeah.
That's like Smith being my role model all this time, and all the great leadership like you two guys been instilling in me, and you guys decided to leave the school, and now they didn't bring in, I don't know,
these pussies.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Literally and
exactly
figuratively.
Not to say that they're bad teachers, but they're just indoctrinated differently.
Yeah. They're
here's my thing.
Trying to coddle the American mind teachers.
And then here's my thing. All right, now these teachers, right? Let me ask another question about these teachers. Now, are these teachers, the predominantly male, or more of these teachers predominantly females?
And here's the funny thing. So what Benedicts tend to do a lot of times, they try to get alumni who are in the teaching profession to come back. So you do have that. But what's happening, and you kind of see this when we read this book with The War Against Boys and reading The Myth of Male Power, each generation of men are getting softer. So like, so the alumni class who graduated in 2000 and let's say 2015, and that'd be too young. Like, let's say they graduated in 2010. He's going to have a different learning experience than I had in 2002 with the teachers I had.
Gotcha.
I don't know the teachers that this person had when they graduated in 2010, because I was already hearing like a lot of the teachers that were longstanding teachers when I was there, they were retiring while I was in Benedict's, and some of them left shortly after I left Benedict's. So like I didn't know most of the faculty that was there after I left. And then so like that dude, one of the alumni, when he was there, he was like the chemistry teacher, and I'm listening to him talk, and I'm like, you seem kind of soft. You seem like the type of dude that'd be down with some shit like this, but I don't want to necessarily pass judgment.
So what you're saying is send my son to a military school. Gotcha.
But that's what it is, man. Like, yo, dude, like, in all honesty, man, because y'all Gen X and some millennials, like not all of us, but some millennials, we're the last of the typical prototypical male. Like after that, every generation after that, they're just gonna be what Christina Hoff was saying. They're
manginas.
They're gonna be the resocialization. They're gonna be part of that resocialization. Because I was reading the comments, like even the younger students or the younger alumni, they were all in agreement with this. And I noticed that all of the older alumni, like my grade and older, they was like, nah, they weren't on board with this. They're like, what are y'all doing?
Yeah. Because it's a whole new world. In the words of Beyonce, who run the world? Girls.
And you all were taught about tradition.
Yes.
And Benedict, you were taught about tradition. That shit was beat into your head. And motherfuckers all of a sudden in 2021 want to change the tradition. Yeah, that's gonna fuck with us.
Yeah,
like and tradition was something that you had pride in.
Tradition was what we had pride in. What the fuck? Like, you're trying
it's
to
like it's like that's one of the things. It's like being part of brotherhood. It's like the fact of. So, for instance, for me as a Mason, I know the fact of if I meet another Mason, he went through the same exact process I went through. So when I say certain words to him, if I shoot certain signs at him, if I shake hands with him in a certain way, you know what I mean? It's all understood because we went through the same exact process.
But
now it's going to be completely different.
It's different. And then the one thing,
are they going to name it St. Benedict's, and the tagline is going to be a co-institutional academy?
No, they changed. You know what bothered me the most, and now I was just like, yo, I'm done. But Kelvin had to talk me off the ledge. They changed a quote of ours. I know they're going. Yeah, they changed the quote. So it used to be whatever hurts my brother hurts me, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh Lord!
And then what the fuck did they change it to?
Come on, guys, you gotta give me all this shit now. You can't give me bits and pieces.
I think it's like whatever hurts.
Yes,
whatever
hurts
my cisgender.
Yeah, like I know they changed it. It was just like they changed it to like whatever hurts.
My co-institutional partner hurts me.
Something crazy, bro. It was something crazy, and that's when you realize this is not an experiment because it's just like you changed the motto. Like, how did you change the motto of the school like that?
That's like me being a Marine and somebody coming like, oh, when you were in the Marine, it was Semper Fi, do or die. Now it's Semper Fi, talk it out.
This is what I noticed about this age thing too, right? So they say when the people get older, 70, 80, they just start speaking their mind. As I get older, I start listening more. You can't tell me some shit of the experiment. I know already what that means. Yeah. I've lived life.
Yeah.
Just be honest with me. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And you know what? This is happening everywhere.
That's the thing that I'm learning now. You know what I mean? You can't just give me no bullshit. I got questions.
And that's what I'm saying. This is happening everywhere because now that I mentioned the military, I just remembered me and a friend of mine who's a master sergeant. We were talking because he's still serving. He's a master sergeant, this, that, and the other. And he's telling me about boot camp. And I mean, granted, this is the Army, not the Marine Corps. I mean, I'd be pissed off if it was the Marine Corps, but the whole thing is in the Army. Now, when they go through boot camp, before where you'd have a a drill instructor in your face, like you could smell his breath. Like these guys used to eat raw onions just so they could be in your face, right up on you, talking shit, this, that, and the other, cussing you the fuck out, blah blah blah. Now they got to stay an arm length away from you. And now, if you get too stressed out from boot camp, you could pull out a card out of your pocket, a stress card, and the drill instructor has to back off.
Hey, you can use this stress card.
Crazy.
Hey, yo, when we had this war,
tell me when is that going to happen in war?
Hey, Black Zeus, that's my question. When we at war, I'm gonna pull out this stress card.
That's what I was saying. It's like when I heard this shit, I was like, "Are you shitting me?
Stop, Cash! You shooting too much. Here, I got a stress card."
These guns are going off too loud. Can I go to my safe place?
Loud.
I know you tell your combatant like yo.
Stress card. Are you fucking shitting me?
Yo, this is real shit. Like
it is real shit.
If it wasn't coming from who it was coming from, I wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, we're trying to fucking appease everybody. Some shit we need hard people for. Some shit we need soft people for. Yeah, that shit ain't going to change. It is what it is.
And like one of the things one of my homeboys, Val, was saying, he was like, what I don't get, because, you know, we were all left still confused as to like the dynamic. And that's because they said they left the conversation still like, you know, unresolved in regards to like how this is going to work out. And then my boy Val brought up a good point. He was just like, so you expecting us, the boys, to still have their traditional stuff go on, and the girls are not going to say, but hold up, can we have this too?
Mm-hmm.
Of course that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're going to say we're left out.
Yeah.
Aren't we part of this school?
Exactly.
Aren't we part? We go here too. Why are we being left out?
So imagine like in the book that we were just reading with and they were talking about something like that at like a sort of like a St. Benedict's, where the boys had put on like a mock war or something, and they had shields and swords and all that.
Mm-hmm,
so now let's say you did that at St. Benedict's. Let's say it was the Civil War, the South versus the North, and they're going through it, and they're having a good time going through it. Now the girls are going to be like, what are we going to do?
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to do?
You know? What are we going to do? Or they're going to say like, this is not conducive to, learning and this, that, and the other. This is just boys being violent.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's just like, it completely throws off the experience of a school that understands that you're a boy and you don't respond to things the way a girl does. You know what I mean? You don't respond to boys typically respond for more sternness, more firm action, discipline, structure. You know what I mean? They understand being more physical. They understand being more competitive. And these are all things that in a healthy environment can be done very well and drive men to be successful leaders and builders and creators and you know what I mean? But if you're going to tell little boys they don't have, you're going to say, oh, you don't have to compete. Competing is not good. Don't say words like hate. That's too strong. You just soften them up. Who's going to be the leaders of the new world? Who are going to be the innovators? Who are going to be the creators? Who's going to be the builders? You know, who?
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
It's crazy.
I don't know.
Crazy.
I don't know, man.
I was about to say, damn, what the fuck?
It's not. Yeah, it's not like I'm at the St. Benedict site right now, man, and they actually, I think, honestly, they gave more details from the last time I actually paid attention to this, man. And,
oh yeah,
yeah, man. I just hit it up, and it doesn't look like this is an experiment. This looks like they're gonna keep it.
Well, we know that already. We are smart enough and intelligent enough to know. That's why I said,
listen. You know what this is, right?
And I get to learning about words. You can't just tell me bullshit. I can look right through it.
Let me break it down. Let me break it down in language you're gonna understand. Listen, girl, I'm not gonna put it all in. I'm just a tip.
No, damn well, we're gonna slot that motherfucker off.
Exactly. That's exactly what they did to y'all. They said this is not what it is. It's just an experiment.
It's just a tip.
Yo, and your boy on some bullshit too. So you ain't say that Father Ed was talking about admitting girls follows the school's mission to serve the community.
Yeah.
He said to combine the school, it was student driven. and credited the girls for making a push after their school announced
Yeah, bro. Like I told you, the girls did the majority of the talking at the time.
Yeah, he said this whole shit was done completely by the kids.
Hold up. So let me make me understand this. That the junior and senior class of a dying school had more power and say and authority than the 4 classes of a very strong and thriving
and
school.
The alumni
check it out.
And the alumni. So how
Black Zeus, Black Zeus. Wait, hold your thought for 1 second, Black Zeus.
Now I'm hot.
Because you said the girls. Check it out. It's only 61 of these chicks.
And they had more power.
Yo. It's 61 of them.
The entire school of boys, their parents, the alumni in the school that's thriving, the school that is dying, that does not have enough of them to support it. Alumni don't support it. There aren't more girls coming in, but this 61 had power. See, this is what I'm talking about.
You wasn't on top of this shit, Cash.
Bro,
I'm starting to take on Black Zeus anger now. You weren't just, bro. Did you read this shit?
Bro, to be honest,
you didn't read this shit, did you?
Not as an entirety.
Yo, bro. Everything that me and Black Zeus said is in this shit, bro. It's exactly what the fuck we said.
I just found this article now.
I'm sorry.
But I was
this shit says what this. Check this one statement out. What this will look like. I have no idea right now. Father Ed says
that's what he said at the time.
Look, check it out. That's the front of it. You can go into battle with the battle plan, but no battle plan ever works out according to the plan that you set. So we just going to accept the girls. Like, this is what there wasn't no experiment. It was never an experiment. It was, y'all going to have girls at St. Benedict's. Nigga, take your money and run. Take your money and run, bro. Take your money and run.
I was going to say,
Henry say, because Henry don't be reading shit. Don't be listening to
That's exactly what I was going to say. I concur with Hakeem. That's exactly what Henry said. I concur with Hakeem.
Yeah, fuck what Henry talking about.
You don't need to wait. You don't need to wait. You don't need to fund that shit. No. You don't need to fund that shit, my dude. Take your money and run.
Because
take
it
over to scene prep.
He said, y'all, your current students and alumni should think about how the school operated in the past, right? He said that shit ain't coming back. In his opinion, anytime soon, he said school is going to be very, very different. We're getting these young ladies to come here.
Yeah. Let these soft ass, manginas support the school.
And they said, they also said that it was numerous Catholic schools that closed in Jersey City at all grade levels.
Yeah, that was one of the other talking point too. Was like there was a lot of Catholic schools prior to.
And they're saying your school, 98% of the seniors graduated, 99% of the graduating seniors attend college.
Yeah.
See, that was the draw for me.
Yeah.
That was one of the draws for me. You know what I mean, along with the fact that it's all male and this.
I got a question. So when the girl, check it out. When the girl want to play on y'all most notably boys soccer team that competes nationally, what exactly?
I don't know, bro.
Yo, did you read this shit, bro?
Yo, I just found the article because I wanted to send it to you guys.
You keep saying that. I'm gonna stop reading this shit. Because I'm reading, I like to read shit.
Yeah,
I like to read shit.
Because the thing was, I kept trying to find.
Why you give Conspiracy Brother all that information?
Nah, because I kept trying to find the word that kept saying code. So I was like, let me look it up because it has a co-institutional word in that article. And that's why I was like, oh, let me forward it to you because that was the word that kept saying.
Oh, bro. Yo, that shit was never experimental.
Hold up.
Wait, let me just say this one part. Let me just read this one part to you.
Okay.
After the chat, St. Benedict's issued a formal statement saying beginning July 6th, St. Benedict's Prep will begin offering enrollment for a girls' prep division grades 9 through 12.
Wow, I didn't read that. I didn't see that.
To the displaced students of Benedictine Academy and other interested female students.
They said no.
The monks at North Abbey and St. Benedict's Prep Board of Trustees both overwhelmingly support this endeavor.
See, y'all looked the other way. They didn't shove in the tip. They gave you the whole shaft.
They gave you the whole shaft.
See, this article was back in May when Father Ed made, like, when he did his presentation announcement. That was back in like February or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Overnight, that shit, they bent you over, no lube, rammed it right up there.
Yo, this is crazy.
Take your money and run, bro. Take your money and run.
He said at the end of the day, moving forward, having girls will be one part of St. Benedict's now. He says this shit. He said exactly what the fuck me and Black Zeus had already said. Ain't no such thing as no fucking experiment.
Yep.
When they tell you they got the motherfucking, when they tell you they got a cure for some shit, that mean they already knew the virus was there. You understand? They already had the virus. They ain't just come up with no miracle cure. That shit don't happen like that. So that shit was already happening. And that's what I'm saying. I'm learning to really listen to people's words, bruh. That wording is everything. That's why I was listening to Trump. I followed him.
It's kind of like
I know I was a heavy Trump follower, and I'm following Biden because you got to listen to what these. I don't want to hear what the news is giving me their opinion.
Everywhere you go.
I want to hear what the motherfucker is saying right out their mouth because then I know.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's like hearing one of those Pantene or Vidal Sassoon commercials. They say, "Oh, use our product for healthy looking hair."
Yeah.
Well, Calvin,
no one ever looks at that one word, healthy looking hair.
Healthy
doesn't mean your hair. Doesn't mean healthy hair. So it looks healthy.
It looks
well,
healthy.
Calvin has like I said, man, and it kind of resonated. Calvin said the one thing was like he said until the school has their name is tarnished in a bad public light, he's like, I will still continue to contribute because your money still is going to be helping a boy.
No, it's not going to be helping the boys. It's not helping the girl. What the fuck is wrong with you? Are you listening to what you're saying?
You're not hearing
it's
the dynamic.
Be helping a girl.
Here's the thing. If there's only 400 slots, if there's only 400 slots in the school, and now you've got 75 of them being taken up by a girl, right? That might be 75 of little boys who, especially if I don't know what your mom's financial status was at the time when you were going. All right. So the whole thing is that might be them little boys who don't have the money to go. They don't have the money to go, and their position is being taken by a girl.
You just said your sister and her sisters don't give back to St. Benedictine. Yeah. What the fuck I want y'all to know? I'm not going to keep giving money for chicks now.
Yeah.
I was giving money for what I believed in.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't believe in this shit anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. Y'all change the dynamic. I take my money back. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I asked for lobster. Y'all gave me a steak. I don't want this. Fuck are you talking about? Give me my money.
Like
don't
the one thing
Henry.
Father
Don't
Ed...
listen to Henry. Fuck that. Don't listen to Henry, man.
Because the one thing Father Ed said, and maybe I got to read that article. The one thing he said was the boys' enrollments won't be impacted.
Bullshit.
That's what he said.
Okay,
Bullshit.
That's what he said. And do you believe that? Do you believe that?
No, I really don't believe that. You know economics.
Now that
there's only but so many slots.
Exactly. Did you believe that?
Yeah.
They're not going to take in the same amount of boys when they're bringing these girls in. They're not going to do that.
You can't.
Your resources are limited. And like I was saying about the gym, right? Y'all got 2 gyms, right? So that means.
But one of the gyms is like a Ricky Dink small gym.
Okay, but here's my question: How many locker rooms y'all got? How many locker rooms y'all got?
Y'all got a boy locker room, basically.
Yeah,
it's been a boys' school. It's been a boys' school, so everything is for boys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna convert half the bathrooms.
Now you gotta convert
shit. Get rid of the urinals and half the bathrooms.
How about to say now you gotta take some of them urinals? I was just about to say that.
You're gonna have to do a lot of shit.
Word up, you gotta do a lot of shit. But at the end of the day, it was never an experiment. They knew what they were doing. They knew that they wanted to.
What it was.
Now, there was a time in our society, not too long ago, where men can go and be men. We can remove our social mask. We can relax and we can exude masculine energy. It also was a place, these male spaces were places where we can educate men on what potential pitfalls they face in society, not just with women, but with other, like their work, like their sports, other things that they can educate other men to avoid certain pitfalls. These spaces were necessary, but what we saw an invasion and essentially an infiltration of our spaces. Continuously, all throughout these years of feminism, women have wanted to place themselves in male spaces, mainly because they felt left out. Most of the things that were going on where people were achieving success, where people were making business deals, where people were learning about themselves, where people were learning to protect themselves from fake marriages and divorces. Most of these spaces were essential and existed. Such spaces such as the bar, Spaces such as the barber shop, spaces such as the gym, spaces such as the golf club. All these spaces, the cigar bar, all of these spaces were where men can go out and relax and release themselves from the pressures that society placed on them, especially if they were in long-term relationships or marriages. They can go and relax and get away from that daily grind and that energy where they need to feed these women constantly with attention. They can go and relax and not think about trying to attract the attention of women, but thinking about the men and the brotherhood that they have. But we saw these infiltrations of male spaces, or women complaining about not being allowed to be in these male spaces. They didn't get the attention when men were in their male space. They didn't get the understanding of why it was necessary for men to have their own spaces. We see it here in MGTOW channels. We see the continuous drive of women coming in who are seeking attention from men, and they're able to get it by getting into the male space of what we call MGTOW. Now, slowly but surely, you saw women wanting to get involved in these spaces. Maybe it was they wanted to be an athlete, and they felt that the golf club should be opened up to them. They also felt that maybe the bar or the cigar lounge was a good place to go, and you will see women act like they are into cigars. The main reason why they're into cigars is to keep the attraction level up for the male suitors that are in these places. Many times the young secretaries were allowed to come into these male spaces, but we didn't want women who were looking for long-term relationships to come in these spaces. The biggest place that I can say that the infiltration of male spaces have been to the detriment of our society is in the gym. Now, I've been a part of the gym community for a long time. I've been involved in weightlifting. I've been involved in cardio or athletic development. No matter what level of fitness that I've been in, I've seen the infiltration of that male space, which we call the gym, and what it's turned to now is a basic shit show. Now, there was a time where bodybuilders were the individuals in the gym. Now, these individuals were pushing around heavyweight. You didn't normally see simps in there. You didn't see these people coming in there doing little bicep curls. You saw men coming in there being masculine and strong. And if you didn't belong in there, you didn't even put your nose in there, even if you weren't a woman. Over time, women wanted to take their aerobics classes from the local community centers and try to use them into the gym and try to take them into the gym. Essentially, what would happen is these women didn't want to go to their women-only health clubs anymore. They wanted to be allowed in the male gym that they saw and loved. Not because they had better exercise equipment. It's because they could get a lot more attention from men. And they felt that if men were in there discussing secrets on how to better themselves, discussing secrets on how to get over on their wives, they wanted to be within earshot to eavesdrop on these conversations. So many times when women are present in the gym, men typically quiet themselves and don't discuss certain subjects that they did discuss when the women weren't around. So this infiltration started with this general idea, and it changed the entire structure of how the gyms work today. Remember when you heard these bodybuilders lifting and they would grunt, ugh! They would yell and scream, ah! Now, physiologically, these yells and screams are similar to what in martial arts they call a kia. When you hear Bruce Lee, ha! Am I pretty good at my martial arts? Every time Bruce Lee would strike and he would go into a pose and he would go into any one of these self-defense situations, he would yell from his belly to make sure he would exude or get some extra energy or force into his punches. Now, when you're in the gym, physiologically, when you yell and you scream as you're pushing these weights, you get a lot stronger because these yells help you get a little more energy and force into what you're doing. Now, when women were allowed in these spaces, they would complain about these men in there screaming and yelling. And slowly but surely, you would get simps who were coming in there to do bicep curls in the squat rack, going and complaining about the men who were pumping this iron and making these loud, Noises. It's not necessary to yell and scream as you're lifting weights. Well, to the contrary, most times you can use profanity to help you get extra force. And physiologically, this has been proven to be necessary when you're lifting heavy weight. If you're not lifting heavy weight, why in the heck are you in a gym in the first place? Let's just ask that question. Now, let's talk about this. When the women complained about the loud noises, what happened? You saw the bodybuilders slowly remove themselves from the weight room once the weight room started to enforce the rules of not yelling and screaming. You also saw the mass influence of simps into the gym, because now that the bodybuilders weren't there, they can somehow be a little more masculine. You also saw women starting to dominate the weight room. Now, if you look at the weight room of how it's divided, the women are particularly on the leg and the cardio machines, and the men are over on the upper body machines. But every now and then, later on, you saw women coming back and forth in between these gym spaces and distracting the men. Now, as you have it today, what you have are a bunch of women going in there, parading themselves around with headphones on, acting like they're busy little bees. But what they're doing is soaking up the attention. They're going in there, strutting their stuff, acting like they're super focused on what they're doing, when they can be doing what they're doing over in the corner, because they're not lifting heavy weight 9 out of 10 times. What they are doing is soaking up attention. They're invading the male space. And we can prove it because the men who are in there, when there's a massive presence of women in the weight room, they start to lose focus on what they are doing and start to focus their attention on these women. Now, that has been to the detriment of gyms. That has been to the detriment of bodybuilders, of people who want to go in there with the sole focus of going in there and lifting heavy weight. Their second focus is going in there and helping their brothers learn how to lift this weight. But what we find now is that these men are often distracted by these women strutting around in short clothing, doing squats in front of them and all these crazy stretches, knowing that they're getting the eyes and attention of these simps. Now, this example of what I've just discussed about how the weight room has evolved, or these gyms have evolved into nothing but nightclub for these attention-seeking women, is exactly what happened when male spaces are infiltrated. Male spaces are needed, guys. It is essential to us to grow as men. It is essential to us to focus on our daily task. It is essential for us to remove the social mask that we have to put on all day because there's women around. There was a time, if you watched the television show Mad Men, work was a place where men got away from the house and they can just focus on work. Slowly but surely, women wanted to be there. Cigar bars, or the bars, were where men would go out and drink whiskey on the rocks, or they would go out and have their cigar or cigarette. Women wanted to be there. Golf clubs were places where business deals were made, where people can go out there and work on their swing and do deals. Slowly and surely, women had to be there. What about the barbershop in the black community? The barbershop was a place where you can go out there and listen to stories, listen to jokes, tell stories, learn from the older wise men. Slowly but surely, what did you see? The single moms would come in there wearing their tightest, most fittest outfit that they can find, and they would strut their nappy-headed little boy all up in the barbershop and sit when the men could no longer talk. They can no longer share these stories. They can no longer express the humor that we needed as we go into battle in the society out here. The same thing goes with the gym. Men can no longer be who they want to be. They always have to be conscious of these little ears that are running around there, positioning themselves just enough to distract us from what we're doing. Male spaces are essential